What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Neutral Zone Infraction Northwest podcast. It is season 2. We're getting ready to go for some Seahawks football. Before we do that, for those of you who have not listened to my podcast before, I just wanted to give you a quick rundown of what I do and how it's changing for season 2. I'm going to talk about sports. I'm not an expert. I'm not a guru. What I do is I watch a lot of sports. So I might give you one or two things to watch for, give you a hot take or two, and see where we go from there. One thing that I want to be conscious of this year is everyone's time. So last year, my episodes ran anywhere from 30 to 50 minutes. And you know what? That's a little bit too long. I understand. You're sitting there, you see the video come up, you're like, 40 minutes. I could click on that and listen to it, or I could watch this next episode of Say Yes to the Dress. I know which one you're going to pick. And you know what? There's no shame in that. Another thing that we're going to change up is sort of what it is exactly that I'm talking about. You guys pretty much told me loud and clear last year with your views and your deafening silence that you don't like baseball very much. And you know what? You're wrong, but that's okay. Seahawks. That's what we're going to be talking about. If something crazy happens, Lord knows I'm going to tell you. But as of right now, I'm going to be focused up on the matchup of who the Seahawks have, how they played last week, and going forward what that looks like. One thing that I am going to keep that I really enjoy is picking games throughout the NFL. I'm not going to go in depth. I'm just going to tell you who's going to win, and I'm going to be right most of the time. So that's what we're looking at right now. So we're going. We're ready to go. The Seahawks final cutdowns this last Saturday. A few surprises. A lot of people up in arms. Where's Casey Williams? He played so good in the preseason. Why isn't he here? Let me tell you what matters. Casey Williams does not matter. What matters is Doug Baldwin and Jimmy Graham. If you've listened to me before, you know one thing. I think Jimmy Graham is criminally underused, and he's the best thing ever in the history of the world to catch a football in the red zone. 2 balls to Jimmy Graham, 1 to Doug Baldwin. Casey Williams probably wouldn't have seen the field. He wasn't that much of a standout on special teams, even though he made a couple good plays in the preseason. And you know what? The upside for Amara Darboh, way higher. The 53-man roster is strong. We got some absolute hogs up front on the defensive line with the acquisition of Sheldon Richardson. Insane defensive line. We still got all our key defensive pieces in the backfield. Bobby Wagner, KJ Wright, Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas looking good. It's dragon time for Earl Thomas. We are ready to go with the 53-man roster on defense and on offense alike. So with that being said, cry your tears for who you loved in the preseason. It doesn't matter. Going forward on Sunday in Green Bay, it's about those guys we do have. And honestly, I think we got to have a pretty good shot at winning on Sunday. It is going to be tough. It is going to be, if not the hardest game we have all year, one of the hardest games. And it's right in week 1 for a team that historically starts a little bit slower than we should. Let me tell you what we have to face. Aaron Rodgers is going to throw bullets. He's going to throw lightning bolts. They're not going to run the ball that much because, number one, they're not going to be able to. They're not going to be able to run the ball that much against us. And you know what? That's fine for them because they've got high-quality receivers. Jordy Nelson, who for some reason catches all the balls on the planet without getting any separation. I can't explain it. He's got good hands, but he's slow. Devontae Adams, who I think is the best receiver in that offense. And Randall Cobb, who's still really good in the slot. Really, really good. The other problem we have to contend with, even though our defensive line is so good, Green Bay's offensive line is great. It's like the 600-foot ice wall in Game of Thrones. Like, we got David Bakhtiari and we've got Brian Bulaga. Arguably, in my opinion, the best tandem of tackles in the league. Even better than those guys over in Dallas. And if we don't pressure Aaron Rodgers, if we don't get after him, just get him on the ground at least twice, they're going to win. It's their house. We start slow, and I think that with their improved defense and their one of the top in the league offenses, I think that it's going to be hard pressed for us to go shot for shot with them in any kind of shootout situation. So we have to make Aaron Rodgers uncomfortable. We got to get him 3 and out every once in a while, and I think that we absolutely have to run the football, control the pace. The less it's in Aaron Rodgers' hands, the better. I want that guy sitting on the bench in his coat jacket when it's 80 degrees outside and muggy, because you know what? He doesn't need to be in there. He needs to be on the bench. No Aaron Rodgers. It's a good time for me. This is what you want to look for on the Seahawks side of things. Some key matchups and things that I saw in the preseason that you might want to take a look at. Doug Baldwin was making people look absolutely stupid in the preseason when he played. We're talking guys 4 or 5 yards away from him when he makes his move. And that if he can get any kind of separation similar to that in the regular season going against ones, and some of that production was against ones in the preseason, I think that we have one of the top receivers in the NFC. Underrated, always coming up with the ball. And with a healthy, throwing daggers Russell Wilson, that is a scary, scary matchup for anyone. The other thing that I'm just dying to see, chomping at the bit to see, what are we going to do with Jimmy Graham this year? He had a decent year for a tight end. He didn't have a decent year for being Jimmy Graham last year, but he had a decent year for being a tight end coming off injury. Now he says he's fully healthy, and we've shown people nothing in the preseason. If you think about the red zone targets that we have Punch It Up the Gut, Eddie Lacy, we've got Jimmy Graham, we've got Doug Baldwin. You can't double team everybody. If we truly are a run-first offense like we keep saying over and over and over and over again, even though it really hasn't been true the last couple years, with this 3-headed rushing attack that we have, 4-headed even, if Chris Carson gets any meaningful playing time in an actual game, I think that if we can really use that, then it just totally sets up the play action for us, especially on the goal line. And if we've seen anything in the NFL, it's if you can consistently rush and they're expecting you to rush and you're able to get that play action off with an agile quarterback, which Russell Wilson is, you better look out, because all he has to do is throw it up to 6'7" tight end Jimmy Graham, and we are in business. Let me tell you what. Another thing to look for with the Seahawks this season and really looking into this game is, what is that rushing attack going to look like? As I just mentioned, we've got 4 different backs, 5 backs. All kinds of people are going to get carries, and seeing how that evolves into, are we going with Eddie Lacy first, finishing him off with Thomas Rawls using CJ Procise on 3rd down? Are we going with Rawls and then bringing in Lacy for short yardage situations? How are we going to see it unfold? Or is it going to be a total mystery? They're not even going to know what's going to happen, and we have that versatility to be able to get chunks of yards with different backs, keep everyone fresh and healthy going forward. Because every single one of our even top 3 running backs has a history of injuries. And so we're going to need that depth. We're going to need that Chris Carson. Even J.D. McKissick might get some carries as we go forward, because that is going to be a very important position if we truly are going to keep it with run first. The final thing I want you to look for when you're watching the game is what kind of attack is one of the best passing attacks in the NFL going to use against our secondary. Before, especially when playing in CenturyLink Field, Aaron Rodgers did not throw at Richard Sherman at all, hardly at all. And really what was taken advantage of was the middle safety, which wasn't Earl Thomas at the time last year. You know, the game where Russell Wilson threw 800 interceptions and we lost 40 million to 3. Yeah, that was not a pretty game, and we're not looking for a repeat of history here. But how are they going to attack us? You know, you think Jeremy Lane, who is going to be that other corner on that side, historically has been a good player, but you never really know what you're going to get. Who are they going to attack him with? What sort of formations are we going to see? I am pumped up to see what happens. You better hold on to your butts, kids, because it is going to be a wild ride. That is for one thing. I'm stoked for football to be back. I'm excited to sit down in front of my TV and watch a bunch of different games I don't care about just to see kind of where the league's at, what's going on. And I'm more and more and more excited every day to watch the Seahawks play. It is going to be a great season. It's going to be a fantastic season. Hope you guys ride with me throughout. Let me know what you think. Tell me about what you want to hear about. Tell me about what you want me to look for. I love the conversation, if there is conversation back and forth. You know what? If you want to give me crickets too, I'll just sit here and talk into my microphone and it's therapeutic for me. I'll just yell Jimmy Graham a bunch of times. My neighbors will think I'm crazy. It'll be good for everybody. As for right now, I'm going to tell you who's going to win next week to close out this show. Here you go. In no particular order. That's not true. In order of start time. Here we go. Chiefs, Bills, Texans, Steelers, Lions, Dolphins, Falcons, Titans, Bengals, Redskins, Rams, Panthers, Hawks, Cowboys, Vikings, Broncos. Those are who's going to win. We'll see how I do. I'll tally it up. You know I will. This is what I do. As I said before, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. You like it short? Good, because it's going to be short. That's what the research tells me. You like it long? Sorry, bruh. Come get a beer with me. It'll be great. We can talk about our feelings, have a good laugh, high fives. I love those. And when I say come get a beer with me, I obviously mean come to my house, because who wants to go out and pay $5 per beer? Not this kid. So as I leave you today, I want to leave you with a special football proverb. I believe it was Confucius that said, keep on ballin'.